Less than 2 weeks, the director of the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention is expected to testify before a House subcommittee on this very issue. House Oversight Subcommittee on Economic and Consumer Policy, as Congress tries to get to the bottom of what's causing these illnesses. The chairman of the Oversight Subcommittee on Economic and Consumer Policy joins me now. He's Congressman Krishnamoorthi. He's a Democrat from Illinois. Congressman, thank you. First of all, Congressman, do you support the president's proposed ban on non-tobacco flavored e-cigarettes?
I think that's a good step in the right direction. I should say that there's more that has to be done. He cited our investigation and our hearing testimony as partially an impetus for this ban, but we need to see more done, Craig.
More like?
At least a couple things. One is I think that perhaps your previous guest might have mentioned it, but there's an abnormally high amount of nicotine associated with e-cigarettes. In a pod of e-cigarettes, you have more nicotine than in one full pack of combustible cigarettes. And for middle schoolers or high schoolers who are even trying this out, they get hooked on a potential lifetime of nicotine addiction. And so that's another area that we have to tackle as well.
Just days ago, the FDA issued a warning letter to Juul saying that the company violated the law by marketing their product as a safer alternative to smoking. What more do you think Juul should be doing?
So this FDA letter that was issued in response to our investigation basically asked them to stop marketing the e-cigarettes in a way that would imply or expressly say that they are safer than combustible cigarettes. But there was another concern that we raised in our original letter from last Friday, which is that Juul is also marketing these devices as smoking cessation devices. And that, again, is a claim that's made without any proof, without any evidence, and it's not made with FDA approval, and therefore that too is illegal.
Experts say that a ban would help stop vaping's surge in popularity among teenagers, but it won't help teenagers who are already addicted to this stuff. What can Congress do for those teenagers?
I personally think that, regulating the nicotine levels, but also potentially looking at putting user fees or taxes similar to what we do with combustible cigarettes is possibly appropriate for e-cigarettes, and then using those monies to then deal with weaning these people off addiction, and also prevention campaigns, similar to what we did with regard to combustible cigarettes. My wife and I are the parent of both a high schooler and a middle schooler, and I got to tell you, during our August recess when I was at home, parents were just up in arms about this crisis. And so we've got to take appropriate measures right now to stop this epidemic, Craig.
Congressman, really quickly here, I mean, do you think that part of the public health crisis that we're talking about here, how much of it is about the traditional e-cigarettes and how much of it is about people getting the black market stuff, whether it's THC oil or and inserting it into those cartridges instead?
Well, I got to tell you, Juul has 80% of the market, okay? They are the dominant producer of these e-cigarettes. There might be black market providers as well. I believe that the federal government needs to crack down on all of them at this point. I got to tell you, this is also not a partisan issue in a place that's unfortunately very partisan, namely Congress. This particular issue cuts across party lines. People of both affiliations or all affiliations are basically saying, our kids are off limits. Our kids are not for sale with regard to e-cigarettes.
Congress